Most people think discipline begins with a big decision. Wake up tomorrow at 5, train every day, stop wasting time, change your diet, fix your life. And for a few days, maybe it works. You feel motivated. You feel different. You tell yourself that this time, things are finally going to change. Then the motivation disappears. The routine becomes inconvenient, and slowly, you return to the person you were before. Confucius understood this problem more than 2,000 years ago, and his answer wasn't to try harder. It was to start smaller. Confucius believed that character was built through repeated action, not one heroic moment, not one burst of motivation, but small behaviors practiced so consistently that eventually they became part of who you were. This is why ritual was so important in Confucian thought. Today, when we hear the word ritual, we might imagine some elaborate ceremony. But the deeper idea is much more useful. A ritual is simply a behavior repeated with intention. How you begin your morning, how you speak to another person, how you approach your work, how you respond when you're frustrated, how you behave when nobody is watching. These things seem small, but Confucius understood something we often forget. Your life is mostly made of small things. Think about it. Very few days contain a life-changing decision. Most days are ordinary. You wake up, you eat, you work, you talk to people, you make dozens of small choices, and then you go to sleep. But those ordinary days eventually become your life. So if you want to change your life, you have to change what you repeatedly do on ordinary days. This is where discipline actually begins, not with intensity, with repetition. Imagine two people. The first person decides he wants to become stronger. On Monday, he trains for 2 hours. He pushes himself until he's exhausted. He feels incredible afterward. But Tuesday, he's sore. Wednesday, he's busy. Thursday, he tells himself he'll start again next week. The second person does something much less impressive. Every morning, he does 10 push-ups. That's it. 10. It barely feels like a workout, but he does it Monday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday. And eventually, 10 becomes 20, 20 becomes 30. Months later, he doesn't have to convince himself to exercise. He has become someone who exercises. That difference matters, because the goal of discipline isn't simply to force yourself to perform an action. The goal is to become the kind of person for whom that action is normal. Confucius placed enormous importance on cultivation. You cultivate character in much the same way you cultivate a field. You don't plant a seed today and demand a harvest tomorrow. You water it, you protect it, you return to it, day after day. At first, almost nothing seems to happen. And then one day, you realize something has grown. Discipline works the same way. Reading 10 pages doesn't make you wise. Saving $20 doesn't make you wealthy. One workout doesn't make you strong. One difficult conversation doesn't make you courageous. But repeat those actions hundreds of times, and something changes. Not just your circumstances. You change. This is where people often make the mistake. They focus entirely on the result. They want the better body, the successful business, the organized home, the stronger relationship, the calm mind. But they don't want the repetitive actions that create those things. Confucius would tell you to focus on the practice, because when the practice becomes part of your character, the result begins to take care of itself. So don't ask yourself, how can I completely change my life tomorrow? Ask a smaller question. What is one action I could repeat every day? Maybe it's waking up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's reading 5 pages. Maybe it's putting your phone away during dinner. Maybe it's walking after lunch. Maybe it's writing down your priorities before you begin working. Maybe it's doing 5 push-ups. The action almost doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep the promise. Because every time you perform that small action, you're casting a vote for the person you're trying to become. And something else begins to happen. You begin to trust yourself. This may be one of the most overlooked benefits of discipline. Every time you tell yourself you'll do something and then don't do it, you weaken that trust. You teach yourself that your own promises don't mean very much. But when you make a small promise and keep it, then keep it again tomorrow, and again the next day, you begin rebuilding that trust. You stop needing motivation. You stop negotiating. The action simply becomes part of your day, and eventually part of your identity. This is why starting small isn't weakness. It's strategy. Anyone can be disciplined when they're inspired. The harder challenge is building a system that survives when inspiration disappears. Confucius understood that great character is rarely created through dramatic moments. It's created quietly, through repetition, through ritual, through doing the right thing so many times that eventually you no longer have to ask yourself what to do. You simply do it. So if you're trying to become more disciplined, don't begin by demanding a completely different life from yourself tomorrow. Choose one thing, make it small, make it repeatable, and do it today, then do it tomorrow. And when tomorrow comes, don't worry about the next year. Just repeat the action. One day, one choice, one small promise at a time. Because eventually, those small actions stop being something you do. They become who you are. And that may be the lesson Confucius understood better than most. You don't become disciplined and then start acting differently. You act differently again and again and again until one day you realize you have become disciplined. Start small. Repeat it. Let the action shape the person. Because the life you want isn't built in one heroic moment. It's built in the ordinary moments you repeat every day.